I'm the chief assistant.
You are my chief assistant.
What is it? Yep.
And just hold that as if it's...
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
Can you pull it a little bit more upright towards me and pull it a little touch more? That's it. Let's get his foot in there.
When she comes up, she gets a walk into something.
Are you alright? How's your back doing?
No, no.
It's not
Just
very
sits on the
comfortable.
stairs.
You always got to watch him back.
Yeah. She's got that like.
He's doing awesome. Look at that.
The shame shrimp with that puppies.
Do you need me to listen or keep
No, I love it tight because it shows that is spot on. Wait, I'm going to get underneath him to make it look like he's higher than me.
Oh, after me. I guess first.
Devastated. If you had people like me, that time I had to hand him back with God all the way.
Love it. Okay, let's one another. Hi everybody, so I have edited these two videos together, so you should have just seen me working live with the baby. You saw how I got these shots. Now I've pulled them into Lightroom and I'm going to choose which one I want to work with. I'm literally showing you from start to finish. So these are the shots that I started with. Clearly, okay, let's go to the top. I'm not overly happy. The foot's not in the right spot. Look, fingers are out of place. These aren't great. So as we come down, we're getting better and better. You saw me working the baby, perfecting it, until we finally got these photos, which I'm pretty happy with. So now it's just a matter of me deciding which shot I'm going to use. And I think, let me just zoom out a little. I always zoom out so that I can get a better perspective. So it'll be one of these three. I think I'm going to use this one. So we're going to develop that. All right. So just so you see what we're trying to do, again, we're going to create this sort of a photo from this. Okay. So this is straight out of camera, not a single tweak has happened. So I'm going to get my white balance correct. Just fiddle around with that for a second. Oh, that's way too cold. Look at the wall, that's a bit pink. I think that's about right. Just going to increase the exposure a little bit. Just double checking that it's all okay. I will fix the luminance, which is the noise reduction. In fact, I don't actually think it needs much. I do have a newborn preset that I'm going to just check. It just removes a little bit of the red for me. And no, I'm not going to give it to you. You're going to work out how to do it yourself. The settings are the same as all of the others. It's just a simple, all I do is raise the red luminance. Just here. Under the HSL color B&W drop down, I click luminance. Hang on, luminance. And the red, and I bring it up to about 41, and it's removed the red out of the baby's skin. So watch this. And if I zoom in, I'm not sure if you're going to pick that up. Hang on. And so there you go. That's all it does. That's my action. It fixes the grain and brings down the highlights a little bit and the clarity down to -10, but that's all it does. So you can now create your own preset over here by just pressing the plus button. Anyway, that's sidetracked. Okay, so I'm just fixing that white balance up again. Here we go. And I think we are just about ready to go into Photoshop. I actually, as you saw, I actually took this photo on the baby's bouncer. That's all I needed, just to get the right shape. Okay, so I'm just double checking everything. Yeah, okay. Edit in Adobe Photoshop, and this is where the fun starts. Just let it load. Okay. I'm just deciding whether I want this to be a horizontal or a vertical photo. I think I'll keep it in the portrait way. Now I've got to get rid of all this background. First things first. So I am going to select my baby with the, what's this called? Quick selection tool. You would think I would know that off the top of my head. Alright. So just dragging this down. Here we go. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to, it's alright, I'll leave that there. I can remove that. Oh, here we go. There we go. Alright. Make that a little bit smaller. Just quickly. What's it doing? No. Excuse the little boy bits. We will get rid of that. Alright, this isn't playing. Here we go. Alright, I'll just do that really rough. I'm going to just remove this grey from the background. If I had I've thought that through a little bit more, I could have selected a different colour backdrop for this particular shot. But it was the first thing that I grabbed. We're also going to take note of where that shadow is. No, it's not going to let me select that very well. Alright, so I'm going to go select and mask. I'm going to grab just the plain old brush and get close to the edge. That's all mostly okay. So much of my editing is all about my masking. It's all about masking. Alright, so we're just coming around here, and I'll add a little bit of the blanket. It's not a big deal. We really just want to get most of this in. Go around here. I'm going to smooth all that out anyway in a minute. Okay, let me just scroll up. Okay, we've got most of it. Okay, so now I'm going to go to selection, new layer with layer mask, and actually I'm going to hold down the Alt button for PC users and just get rid of some of that extra. I can do it once I'm out of here anyway. Okay. Oops. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. That put the baby on its own layer. I have clicked on background layer. I'm adding a new one. And I am going to choose a grey tone. Just like that. Something that was very similar to what we were using before. Paint bucket and click. Okay. Simple as that for now. Obviously this looks very fake. I did miss some of the masking here, so I'm just going to bring that back. Or did I? Oh, it's on low opacity. Let's fix that up. Alright, obviously that all looks a little bit dodgy up here, so I'm going to now go do some more masking, and I am going to get rid of all that side. I'm going to use a soft brush because obviously up here it's a lot more out of focus. Oops. Probably a little too soft. Let's go halfway. That's a bit better. The softness of your brush makes or breaks your masking. It makes it look realistic or it makes it look really cut out. And when you're trying to mask, you're always looking at how in focus everything is that you're masking out, and you try and match that. So we're getting a little bit more in focus as we come down. This is super rough. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, and then this side. Yep. Now we're coming into a bit more focus, so we're going to harden it up a little. And there we go. Might actually thin that out a little bit up the top. See, my brush is too hard and it looks like it's been cut out, so we don't want that. Hang on, sorry, there we go. So far, so good. Alright, let's come down here with a harder brush. And I'm liking this. Oh, isn't the baby so cute? Oh, so chubby, so cute. This baby was just under 8 pounds. Okay, I'm fairly happy with that masking. Might just fix this. Okay, now what I'm actually going to do, which is something I don't often do, is I'm going to make that mask be permanent on this layer for that baby. So I'm going to click on my masking part and bring it down to the trash. Then it will ask me, apply mask to layer before removing. I do want to apply that. Apply. So now you can see my layers that this is just my baby, no masking or anything like that. So now what I can do is I can go to File and Liquify. This is going to make it look a little bit more realistic. I'm just going to round it out. I don't generally touch the baby shape. I don't touch heads, I don't touch feet. A lot of photographers do, especially with puppet warp, to round out things and fix the shape of their head. I don't. It's just a personal preference. You can or you can't. It's up to you. I'm just going to push this in a little bit more so that it looked like it was actually being strained a little. And I'm going to round this down just ever so slightly because I really, really don't like to touch the baby's shape. The baby had really long toes, so if it looks like I've elongated his toes, I haven't. They were super long. I'm just going to pop that up. Just ever so slight touches just to make it look a little bit more like it was free hanging. Okay, there we go. So we've got this now. Do you know, I think he's hanging a little bit too high, so I'm actually going to take him up a touch. There we go. I need to create a shadow. This is going to become more realistic as we go. I'm going to go to my layer 1, which was my background, create a new layer. I'm going to get a brush. I'm going to go to black. Okay, and I'm going to reduce this opacity right down. I don't know exactly what the correct opacity is yet, because I'm going to draw the shadow in. Now, softest brush we can find, and I want it to be down here. It's a bit harsh. have a look at what I did in this one here. Okay. What I actually do is, I'm going to delete that because I didn't do it right. I'm going to draw it on, and then I'm going to actually Gaussian blur it to really blend it. Okay, it could probably be better, but when I'm recording these tutorials, I'm aware of time. So I'm just going to go blur, Gaussian blur, and just blur it out a little bit so that it's a bit more blended, not as harsh. If I zoom out, I might actually. Okay, now the reason I've put it on this side is because the sun was coming from top left. So naturally the shadow is going to go this way. We're following the natural shadows of the baby. See this hot spot, or not hot spot, but the brighter spot here. That means the sun was coming from this direction, or the light was coming from this direction. It's created a lovely little shadow under the nose, so we know all the shadows are on this side of the baby. And so that's where that one's going. Okay. Next we have to fix these little boy bits. I'm going to go onto my baby layer, and I'm just going to see what works best. I'm currently using the patch tool. It looks pretty good to me. Perfect. Alright, so we've fixed that. We've got the baby on this background. All good so far. Next, I might edit the background to be a little bit more natural. In this one, as my example, it's more natural because the light is coming in from the left, and it's going from light to dark in this corner. So we're going to do that. We can try a gradient. Oops. And see how that looks for us. Okay, with an angle. Sometimes that it's creating what's called banding, and I will zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is not the method I'm going to do. There are ways to get rid of it, but I don't have time for that in this tutorial. See these lines? It's like there are stripes going all the way through the background, and we don't want those. So I'm going to get rid of that effect. Gone. I'm actually going to just paint it. So I want a light grey brush. I want a huge brush, as big as we can get, and I'm just going to do that over my layer. It's not enough. We are getting a little bit of banding again, but it's not too bad. I'm going to see, this is the beautiful thing about having that baby on his own layer. We can do what we like behind him, and we never have to mask it off again. It's done. So I really like having when I'm doing these composites, I really like to have the subject on its own layer, just to make it easier for myself to work, so I'm not constantly masking anything. Right, so I'm just playing with this at the moment, trying to get the brightness on that side. Okay, I'm not sure if you're picking up the subtle changes that that's making. but it's made some changes. There is a tiny little bit of banding going on. But like I said before, I don't have enough time in this tutorial to teach you how to remove it. It's not something I generally have to deal with, honestly, as well. Okay. So it looks like it's been brighter on this side and it's coming across this way. Right. So now I am going to turn this black and white. So I'm going to the top layer now. I'm going to go adjustment layer button, and I'm going to go black and white. Wow, don't we have an arty photo now? So that's great. It's done it for me. You can adjust these a little bit if you choose to, but I'm not too keen. I just like to leave it as auto. And then I'm going, auto, sorry, that was a terrible Australian slang, auto. So now I'm going to up my contrast a little bit, because I like really contrasty black and whites. I like the real metallic look. I'm not I love everyone else's mattes, but they don't work for me. It just, every time I create a matte photo with black and white, it just doesn't look right. I always end up coming back to creating more of a contrast. Okay, so ignoring the banding in the background, I've got my baby nice and contrasty. I can bring my brightness down a little bit and increase the contrast. Let's see. Before and after. Might be a bit too contrasty. I will change that anyway. I'm going to dodge and burn this photo. Alright, so you'll notice that I actually haven't touched the baby yet. I haven't edited the baby. I haven't touched his skin. I haven't done anything. So now when I zoom in, how picky am I going to be? Not very. I don't edit a baby within an inch of its life. I don't make it look like a plastic doll. I will get rid of fluff. I even do something that the other photographers don't do. I leave flaky skin as much as I can. I talk about it with the clients while I'm at the photo shoot if I notice flaky skin. I say, look, do you like the flaky skin? And when I say that, I actually say, when you have a baby and your baby grows up, you look back at the photos and you want to see how little they were. And for me, the flaking skin represents how new they are. It's that first layer of skin that's been in the water for so long. When it comes out a few days later, they shed. And for me, that's what the flaky skin represents. And I explain that to them. And sometimes they go, no, just remove it. And other times they go, oh, actually, that is a really good point. Can you please leave it? So I do mostly leave it. I will remove the really obvious pieces that distract me a lot. This baby actually had quite a lot of it, but the way I've exposed it, you can't really see it anyway. I just want to remove it from his eyes and a little bit of, mostly around his eyes and his face, just a touch. Not much. Okay, I'm done. Now, I want to dodge and burn. So here is the next part of this tutorial on how I dodge and burn. So, on top of all those layers, I go new layer. I put it normal onto soft light, and I make this black and white. Black. I go to my paintbrush and I go right, I make it fairly about that size in comparison to the back. Depends on where I'm brushing it onto. My opacity comes right down to about 8-ish, give or take. And now I'm going to paint over the shadows and the creases. So I've got soft light, new layer, 8% opacity, give or take. I'm never specific about opacities. It's just something you put on, test it, and if you want to change it, you do. So now I'm brushing this on. I'm going around the creases where the shadows are, just deepening those shadows. Already, look at the difference. And you can barely see when you're brushing it on. So always keep an eye on that layer. See how it's progressing. Don't just completely go over the whole photo and then go, oh, I better check how that's looking. I actually don't like that piece of fabric there. Let's see if I can get rid of it. Nearly gone. Gone. Hey, where are you going? Okay, so back to my burning. Anywhere that there's a bit of a shadow, I'm just going over it. Ankle, little creases. I love the little rolls, so I highlight them. You can see how haphazard I really am when I do this. It's not science. I just go over the shadows. Go over there. We're just really emphasizing, and yes, adding contrast when I did before does this as well, but I like to have this extra control and put it right where I want it. Eyes. Oh, by the way I'm making my brush bigger and smaller without having to go up here and manually do it is my brackets next to the P. Left is smaller, right bracket is bigger. So there's a little quick tip. I'm going to darken those cute little eyelashes. You can even add a little bit. If the baby has eyelashes and you want to exaggerate them a little bit, you can brush over the eyelashes. I'm going to go over that one more time with a smaller brush. Okay. Right, next one. For eyes, sometimes it's easy. Rather than going back and forth, you can just up your opacity. Alright, so, alright. Might just burn a little bit into this temple. Also, the other thing that is bothering me about this photo is this. I don't want it to be so obvious, so I'm going to actually make it black, darken, just so that it, I might even blur that a touch. Where's my blur? Blur tool, back onto the baby, and just brush over that, just a touch. I don't normally blur things, but it's just a bit in the way. Okay, back to my dodging and burning. Alright, black tool. Now I'm going to do, now that I've gone over all the creases, now I'm actually going to burn a little bit of his leg because his leg's too bright. We want the face to be the brightest point of the photo. Whoops, that was blur. Let's undo that. Okay, let's try up here with the brush this time. Burning the leg. So big brush, nice soft brush. We still want it to catch the light. We just want to dull it down a little bit. And I'll add a little bit more to the side of his leg. A bit more under here, a bit more to the side of the face, up in here, down in here, and another place I want to really enhance. I see this part of my masking and the blanket. I will attend to that probably last. Alright. Look at those long toes. I couldn't believe his little toes. Okay. Just very gently across the brow and in here. Now I'm going in here again. Really define that cute little button nose. And deepen this a little bit. Notice I'm zooming in and out. I'm probably making you all dizzy. It's just the way I go in to get the details, but then I zoom out to look at the overall effect that I've created. Darken under here. Now I'm going to go with a white brush. So if you press D on your keyboard, that makes your foreground black and your background white. Then you press X and you swap it over, and now you have a white brush. So I'm just really gently going to go over his highlights and accentuate the bits that I want accentuated. So I can brighten his whole face up a little bit with this. Round out things. It gives more of a 3D effect. Okay. Now we can also add highlights, such as his little lip. I actually just click with the mouse, or if I'm using my Wacom tablet, just draw dots rather than sweeping over it, because lips aren't smooth. So I prefer just to do it a little bit haphazardly. So a little bit of a shine on there. We'll go up this side. And look at that beautiful 3D effect. Alright, we'll give a little shine to the chin. The nose has already got a little hot spot. Might just brighten up under here. Anywhere that light would catch. I'm just accentuating. Our little rolls. If you go to the side of the roll, you make it look even bigger and deeper. So I'm just doing that to enhance his little rolls. This foot's still a little bright. I'm just going to press X to go to my black brush and brush over his entire foot. Just going to check something. Yeah, okay. So you can see that the foot was really elongated there. And it's not because of my camera or the lens that I used in any distortion. It really was how his feet were. That foot is in the same focal plane as his face, and his face is not distorted. I just wanted to double check because it really is quite long. So I'm going to come around here, just darken the whole thing. Even up my opacity for doing this. Oh, too much. Big soft brush. That's better. Much better. Okay. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Back to my white brush with X. And I'm going to... Oh, we're still on high opacity. Let me drop that back. Actually, I find that with the white, I need a lower opacity than I do with the black because it stands out so much. Just really want his cute little eyes to stand out. And just push them here. Yeah, that looks silly. Alright, I think I'm just about done. What I might do now is check my brightness and contrast that I had on. I might now bring that brightness down and contrast up, which will enhance my dodging and burning. It is quite, the baby's face is quite dark here. I might brighten that up a little bit with some dodging, which is the white brush. Look at how much that transformed that photo. That is amazing, isn't it? Okay. We're just about there. I'm going to just tweak a few little things like this, the bottom of his wrap. So I'm actually going to use the clone tool. And I'm going to get the rest of, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the texture from over here. Here. And just brush that on. Make my brush smaller. once you've got the base of this in, if it looks repetitive, like we don't want it to look like we've cloned it. Oops, sorry, it's a bit jumpy. So I will then, if it's repetitive and you can see a pattern from where I've been cloning, I will fix that. Right now I'm just going to add a little bit more. To the bottom. So it doesn't look like it would snap or he would fall through if we just wanted to look a little bit more sturdy than it was. Alright. Not sure what's, oh okay, it's just the fabric anyway, I'm just going to fix that. That looks okay. Alright, now just to perfect the masking up here looks a little bit cut out. The rest of it looks pretty good. I'm going to go around and I'm going to get a new mask on here, the brush, and I'm going to go back to 100% opacity and just make it less cut out. Just perfecting it now. We're just softening those edges because this fabric and the lighting and everything just would not be so crisp. So just softening that up a little bit. Clients will not notice this detail. They'll never know that we went to this extra effort, but we know. So I'm going to do it. Just see where we've just cut it out. A little bit too, I mean, it's very focused, like it's in focus here, but I just still want to just soften those edges just a touch. The main thing with composites like this, I mean, I don't know if that's the correct term for what this photo is, because we haven't merged two photos together. We've taken one and enhanced it and changed it. But the thing about these is we don't want them to be obvious. We don't want people to think, oh, look, the baby's cut out and put on a grey background. We don't want that. We want them to think, how did they do that? We don't want them to then go try and hang their baby from a piece of fabric. You can see that I did it very safely, but we just don't want it to be completely obvious, that's all. I'm actually going to just, because the rope or the wrap wasn't completely flat, like I've masked it, I'm just going to randomly make it uneven. Because it wasn't. There we go. Alright, so there we go. That's a bit better. Yeah, much better. Okay, so I'll just keep doing that for a second. And I think we are just about there. The only other thing that I could do to really enhance this is dodge and burn the fabric. You've seen how I dodge and burn. I will probably leave it here just because you've seen everything that I do. So I will show you. We started with that, and we have ended with this. All right. Well, you've seen it right from the beginning, from me taking the shots to the end result. I hope you've enjoyed this whole tutorial and experience. Please leave some feedback so that I know if this was of benefit to you or not. Ask questions as usual, and I will get on to the next project for you all. Thanks for watching.